Welcome to the F1Stop show. I'm your host, Sam Oni, and with me is Wes Spearman. Wes, how are you this evening?
Yeah, pretty good. Had a quite a busy day, and it's also been quite warm, so I've been sweating quite a bit most day, which I'm sure our listeners are delighted to hear. But yeah, I'm all good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm very good. Um, like you said, it's been warm, very warm, and yeah. So yeah, Formula. So let's get to it. Formula One back again. This time, the Spanish Grand Prix, which, let's be honest, the Spanish Grand Prix in the past hasn't really produced a lot of excitement.
Yeah, the Spanish Grand Prix, and certainly in recent years, have been a bit of a snooze fest. There hasn't been much sort of on track action. I mean, we got a little bit more of an interesting race last year, I think, with the sort of strategy battle playing out between Verstappen and Hamilton, with Verstappen on the one stopper, Hamilton on the two stopper, and Hamilton overtook him with about 7 or 8 laps left in the race. Which, I mean, if that's as interesting as the race gets, then is it actually that interesting overall? But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully with these new cars, then, and these new regulations that do seem to have improved racing and sort of following in dirty air. Hopefully we'll get a more interesting race, a more entertaining race this time round. And I think I said last week that if these cars can produce sort of like an entertaining Spanish Grand Prix, an entertaining French Grand Prix, maybe Monaco even, perhaps, then it can be said that these cars have pretty much improved race. They've set out what they were meant to do, and I think they've done that already. But if they can provide an interesting and entertaining race this weekend, then that's a big tick in the books of FIA and Formula One for getting the regs right and producing cars that do provide more entertainment for us fans.
And as you know, Barcelona also holds um, F1 testing as well in the pre-season. So pre-season testing. When you look back at it up until now, do you know if any teams have which teams have benefited from it from the Barcelona track?
Well, yeah, they had pre-season, well, the sort of unofficial test at the start of the season where obviously every team is sort of getting used to these new cars, new regulations, trying to figure out how to how to stop the porpoising, which I mean Mercedes still haven't got their heads around quite yet. If it obviously it's a track that a lot of the teams will know really well because they go there year in year out. I mean they do that with other tracks anyway, but they get the added bonus of having this having testing there essentially similar to Bahrain. So they'll already have some sort of idea of where their cars are quickest, how they compare to others. But I mean, it's the preseason testing. I mean, you never really know what teams are running what setups. Whether it's like a quali lap, for example, or is it, or are they trying to measure sort of race pace with a heavy fuel load, or just things like that. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously we had the changes to the track last year, I believe, which personally didn't make too much of a difference, I don't think. But again, having said that, with these new cars, they might make a difference now this time round. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all the teams go this year. With have we got any new drivers? I don't think so. Well, I've got Guan Yu Zhou, the only new driver, and he must be probably raced there in, well, almost certainly has raced there in lower formulas. So it's a track that pretty much every driver has got experience with, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they go, and again whether these cars can provide closer racing on a track that has typically provided dull races, to be honest. But
Yeah.
yeah, should be interesting.
Now, this like in previous episodes, I would have said bring your F1 predictions, but I thought today we would give it a little twist. So instead of naming your pole sitter, race winner, and driver of the day, how about you predict the top five finishers of the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend?
Interesting. Good question. I
Starting with P5.
yeah. I'll start with bottom to top. Okay, right. That makes it a bit more tricky now. No, I'm gonna go Lewis Hamilton for P5. Reckon he'll just sneak into the top five.
See, under usual circumstances, we'd never see Hamilton in
probably
P5,
yeah.
I would say.
We'd probably say Hamilton
Never.
P1 again. But obviously this time round it is a bit different with Mercedes off the pace compared to where they have been the last 8 years pretty much. So I'm going to go Hamilton P5 and I'm going to go Sainz P4 and then I'll just do that again. So I'm going to go Carlos Sainz P4.
Yeah.
I think a home race he'll be wanted to get on the podium, but I think other drivers have just got a pace and car advantage, I suppose. I'm going to go George Russell P3, Mr. Consistent this year. I reckon he'll get on that podium.
Okay.
Could change potentially because Spain is quite a fast circuit. It's quite an engine-dominated circuit, I suppose. But yeah, Mercedes could fall back a little bit this time around. Now thinking about it, but I still reckon Russell will get top 5 easy, and yeah, I reckon he'll get a podium as well. And then the top 2, I'm going to go Charles Leclerc for second and Max Verstappen first. But I just think Verstappen, if his engine plays ball and doesn't cut out with 5 laps to go, then I think they arguably have the quickest car on the grid, Red Bull, this year. But obviously, if reliability is all well and good with them this time round, then I think they'll get P1. I don't know where Perez will finish. Maybe P6.
Interesting top five. I know I couldn't help but notice you left out Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, maybe of Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, it's a tricky. I was debating whether to put Perez in the top 5, and I reckon if he does, it will be. I don't see him getting ahead of Sainz, Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, unless Verstappen's engine blows up or something, or there's some sort of incident. But yeah, I reckon it'll be. It's a tussle up between Hamilton and Perez for P5. I reckon.
Interesting. Okay, good. That's a good shout. Right, P5. I'm gonna say George Russell again, Mr. Consistent. Still the only driver to finish in the top 5 of every race so far this season. So George Russell, P5. P4, Carlos Sainz. If I'm to sum up his season so far, I know we've only had 5 races, but it's been a bit like, like a graph chart where you go up, 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 and then it goes like down again. He's had a great start, but I think the last 2-3 races, especially Australia, he's been a bit, steady and had a few, incidents. So yeah, I think he's going to finish 4th place. So he'll be P4. So top 3, 3rd place, I'm going to go with Sergio Perez. I think with Perez, I don't know, he's not talked about a lot in terms of winning races, if you get what I mean, because I remember he was on pole in, I think was it Saudi Arabia?
I think so.
Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia?
Yeah, Saudi. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia. And he got tricked into pitting, which was absolutely
That was brilliant.
wow. I mean, to get dummied by a opposition, pit crew, that's just crazy. Anyway, but yeah, Sergio Perez for P3. I think he can have a really good race. Then it's the top two as they were. I think P1 on the top step is going to be Charles Leclerc. Um, Charles Leclerc has had a great season, great start to the season so far. Um, I think he'll be itching to get another win, and we're going to have another thrilling battle between him and Max Verstappen, who's going to finish second. So that's my top five for the Spanish Grand Prix.
And just on Charles Leclerc, I know we're gonna mention this a bit later, but now we've brought it up. So I suppose as is tradition in Monaco before the actual F1 race, that they have this historic Grand Prix, which I think was being streamed on Sky Sports F1 YouTube channel. I wasn't able to watch it live, but clips surfaced on social media, and one of them was of Charles Leclerc driving Niki Lauda's, I assume, title-winning F1 car. I can't remember which year now. So obviously the 70s, and he lost the brakes, like going. I mean, maybe not full pelt, but still quite quick. So around the streets of Monaco, and then lost the brakes into Raska, sort of the final sort of double right-hander, and went spinning off into the wall, knocked the rear wing off the car, and it's just, I think he's got a bit of a Monaco curse, because obviously last year he damaged his gearbox, I think, in qualifying,
Yeah.
going for pole. I mean, he was on pole anyway, but just going for a fast lap and ended up crashing out in the swimming pool section, I think. And then I think I remember seeing a post on WTF1 saying pretty much going back to like 2017 with all these issues that Leclerc has had in Monaco, and was being from Monaco as well. We desperately want to get on the top step of the podium, but for whatever reason, whether it be reliability or driver error or mechanical failure, he just hasn't. So hopefully this time around, I know we've got another couple of weeks to go until Monaco, but yeah, Leclerc will be tired to get on that top step of the Monaco podium.
Yeah, it would be great if Charles Leclerc can have a good Monaco race when it comes around. Right then, Formula E fans, there's gonna be some new entries, I think, next year. So first, it was announced, I think, a month ago that Rocket Venturi had they had agreed a deal with Maserati for the 2023 Formula E season, which is quite great. You know, it's always good. There's a lot of well-known car manufacturers coming into Formula E, which is great. But that's not the big news. The big news is McLaren. McLaren will be entering Formula E as announced by them next year, 2023, for the new Gen 9 season. Surely McLaren are participating in every motorsport discipline possible, right?
I know. I mean, obviously in F1, where they have been the longest since Bruce McLaren founded it, I think in the 60s. I think McLaren have been in F1. They're in IndyCar as well. They got an IndyCar team racing the Indy 500. I know Alonso tried to win the Indy 500 back in 2017, 2018, quite a while ago now. They're in, or is it next year? They're joining Extreme E with their own team, and then now Formula E, and it's a big move. I mean, as you said, a lot of sort of car manufacturers. You know, Audi, and I think BMW pulled out last year, but you still got car. I mean, Mercedes are obviously heavily involved in Formula E. They've got obviously their own team, and they supply powertrains to other teams like Rocket Venturi, like you mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, Jaguar are in there as well. Um, Loads of other car manufacturers have some input. I think Williams provide the sort of some sort of parts or powertrain for Jaguar. I think they're based in the same place down in Grove in Oxfordshire. Um, yeah, I think for McLaren to join Formula E is brilliant and great for the sport because it brings this high profile team which with obviously a lot of money behind it, and I think for anything it sort of boosts the publicity and profile of Formula E and maybe brings some sort of F1 fans over to Formula E because I mean yeah, you've got Mercedes in Formula E, but you don't have like a Ferrari Formula E team, for example. You don't have um, a Red Bull Formula E team. You don't have Alpine. I think they had Renault Edams, which switched to Nissan, and I can't remember if Nissan have gone now, but it's change of names and sponsors. I think really. Um, yeah, I think it's great that McLaren are joining in Formula E, and just at the start of was it the ninth season of Formula E, and with the new
Yeah.
third generation of cars, which from the pictures look like sort of some sort of Dorito with with wheels on. Really, hopefully they should provide better racing again, more entertaining racing, and the potential for pit stops as well, which should be quite interesting. Not something we've seen with
That would
electric
be
cars
really
before,
interesting
and
to see.
I know with the sort of the first gen of Formula E cars, the cars' batteries could only last half a race, so they had to switch. And each team had to essentially bring like 4 cars to a weekend. So each driver had to swap cars, which was a bit. Is this really? Can we really take this seriously if they have to switch cars halfway through? But I think if they add pit stops, I think it and with McLaren obviously going over to Formula E, it will attract a few more F1 fans and just hopefully get more people talking about Formula E and more interest in electric motorsport because I think that is the way forward. I think it's the way that the world is going, and yeah, just sustainable motorsport. I can't see anything wrong with it personally.
Yeah, and staying with Formula E just for the moment, we recently had the Berlin E which was very exciting. Um, Eduardo Montoya, who races for Rocket Venturi, he won the first race on the Saturday, and then a day later he was on the podium again, but in second place. Nick De Vries of Mercedes EQ, he was the race winner for that weekend for the Sunday, which was really exciting. See, one thing I like about Formula E that's very different to Formula One is that it's not only um, unpredictable, but the variety the variety of winners, the different winners from different teams. It's not because you get what I mean? Because in F1, it's always the same names weekend after weekend. Whereas Formula E, you've got a 1 in 24 chance of the winner being, from Jaguar. You've got a 1 in 24 chance of the winner being from a Dragon, you know? So that's what I like about Formula E, that there's always a chance of different winners popping up on different weekends.
Yeah, I mean Nick De Vries, who won that second race on the Sunday, he finished 10th on the Saturday, and you just wouldn't get that in Formula One. You wouldn't get
No.
someone like Esteban Ocon finishing 10th in the Spanish Grand Prix, and then so like a week later they have another Spanish Grand Prix, and all of a sudden he's winning the race. You just don't get that in Formula One,
Yeah.
but you do in Formula E because obviously the cars are a lot similar. Each I'm pretty sure in Formula E that all the cars are pretty much the same. There's obviously differences in or slight differences in aero and powertrains and so on, but the cars are vastly more similar than F1. And I mean the Jean-Eric Vergne, a two-time champion in Formula E, he finished second in on the Saturday race, and then was right down the order Sorry, I can't see him now. I say right down. They already finished third. Oh no, I'm looking at the drivers' standings. Hang on. With the Formula E website, but he was further down the pack on the Sunday. He was ninth on the Sunday, so almost a reverse de Vries, if you like. Yeah, and I think, as you say, Formula E is a little bit more unpredictable, and that's a word that I've said that out loud, and it doesn't seem like a word now. Unpredictable. Yeah, I really like Formula E, and I need to watch it more, and I don't, which is a bit of a shame because I mean it's free on YouTube, and if you're in the UK on
It
Channel
is,
4 as
yeah.
well,
Channel
so
4
it's freely
Sports on
available,
YouTube.
more freely available than F1, and I
Yeah.
seem to watch more F1 than Formula E, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go.
So we've got 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes. So let's try and finish it off with a quiz then.
Yeah, we got pretty much, as you say, just under 10 minutes left, and I'm going to take you back through 10 years of the Spanish Grand Prix. I need you to name the race winners of the previous 10 years of Spanish Grand Prix. So from 2011 to 2021, inclusive, so including 2011 and 2021, who won the Spanish Grand Prix? Was it I think there's only one sort of multiple winner in the last 10 years. Who has won, well, how many overall? 6, I think. 6 Spanish Grand Prix, and then the other 6 drivers. I think there's 7 in total, basically. So when you're ready, Spanish Grand Prix winners.
Okay. How about Rubens Barrichello?
No, he didn't win.
No?
No, you're going too far back.
Really? How far back am I going?
Well, Barrichello was around in sort of the early. I suppose I think he was around in the early 2010s, but I think he retired in 2012 or 2013.
Okay. Well, on to the next
A bit
one.
more. I think all of these except 2 are current F1 drivers.
Oh, that makes it easier then.
Eventually, yeah, a little bit easier.
A little bit easier. Fernando Alonso. He's surely got to be up there.
Correct. Yeah, 2013.
What would it be without Fernando Alonso? Okay. Sebastian Vettel.
Correct again. 2011.
Okay. Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, he's the multiple winner. 2014, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21.
Oh my goodness! What's that? Four
How many
races?
That's 6. 6 Spanish Grand Prix wins for Hamilton.
Wow. Is that all of them?
That's all of Hamilton's. Driver wise is 1, 2, 3. You're missing.
So what years am I?
You're missing 2012, 2015, and 2016.
Oh, okay.
Remember,
Nico
2016.
Rosberg.
Correct, yeah, 2015.
Nico Rosberg.
So 2012 and 2016 to go.
Max Verstappen, 2016.
Correct, yeah. Youngest ever to win when obviously Rosberg and Hamilton crashed out on the opening lap, which made that year's Spanish Grand Prix perhaps one of the more entertaining of in recent years. And 2012 is a bit of an outlier because this driver's only Grand Prix victory in a team that was competitive in those days, but you wouldn't say regular podium finishes. I think it was the 10th anniversary of this driver's win not too long ago. I think it was in the last week or so.
Don't tell me. He drove for Lotus, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Did he not?
No.
He didn't drive for Lotus.
Didn't drive for Lotus, no. I think
wow.
I think he did at some point in his career, but I think that was a bit later. So 2014, 2015, I think he drove for Lotus.
Oh,
Yeah,
um,
you're on the right sort of lines.
it's definitely not Grosjean because
It's not
Grosjean's
Grosjean, no.
much later. Yeah.
He drove for
Uh,
Williams. And in fact, Rubens Barrichello might have been his teammate that year. Or Nico Hulkenberg, I can't remember.
he drove for Williams. Okay. And it's been 10 years since he
In
won
10 years,
this
yeah.
race.
He's from Venezuela, if that's any clue. on,
Uh,
on the podium with was Fernando Alonso and Kimi Raikkonen, who was racing for Lotus.
this has now turned into Who Am I?
It has a bit, yeah.
You turned it into Who Am I? Okay. Um, where is he from?
Venezuela.
Hmm. Um,
I believe he's the only Venezuelan Formula One driver. I'm not too sure.
did he start on pole?
He did, yeah.
I believe I have the answer.
Go
I
on then.
believe I know who it was.
Go on.
He raced for Williams, and I believe Valtteri Bottas was with him as well. Or my two?
Uh,
No,
he might have been. I don't know.
for Williams.
Was Bottas in F1 in 2012? Let's have a look.
Maybe not.
Williams. Oh, the other Williams. No, it was it was Bruno Senna, his
Oh,
teammate.
well, I'm way off. Well, anyway, my answer is Pastor Maldonado.
Yes, correct. The crash lord himself.
Brilliant. I did it. Wow. So, are we going to get a new race winner? No, sorry. Are we going to get a another Max Verstappen win in Spain, or are we going to have a new race winner that's not Verstappen or Hamilton? It remains to be seen. Well, we've come to the end of another episode of the F1Stop show. Do remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and you can also email us as well. So I've been your host, Sam Oni, and it's a goodbye from me. Bye-bye. And it's a goodbye from Wes.
Bye bye.
And we looking forward to the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend.